You're listening to Truth on Tap with host Kevin Kirsten.
I'm going to be honest with you folks. We're broadcasting now, but you just heard my intro song fast forwarded. And you know what? I'm just going to take a moment here and beat up on some technical people. First of all, you're listening to Truth on Tap, your host Kevin Kierstead. We're going to do a very important show tonight on cyberbullying. We have a real-world example, grown man, who's basically been threatened by cyberbullying. Now, this isn't the typical kind of a high school case, but it's no different. It's no different psychologically from the mindset upon one to the mindset upon another and what it causes. And on top of that, I can't stand a goddamn bully. I cannot stand a bully. So even if they're cyberbullies, we're going to talk about why they bother me even worse. And they do, even than regular. At least regular bullies have to bully you in person. At least they have that much courage. Yeah. So we'll get into that. But let me tell you what I've been doing all day. As I continue to evolve, if you will, I say adapt, to this new broadcasting environment that I find myself in, a show that's picking up listeners rather quickly, and my software needs to be able to keep up with that demand. So I'm using a trial version of Sam Broadcaster, and it just is fucktarded on every level. It clicks and pops half the time. It's now playing my music and sound effects at double, triple speed sometimes. I don't need that kind of trouble. So all day long, I have been experimenting, installing, uninstalling if it didn't work, various software, and trying to get it where it will allow me to take calls without me hearing an echo in my voice. It'll blow your mind how crazy this shit can get. And I have yet to find a suitable alternative. So I keep falling back to the, to the Sam Broadcaster until I can get something else, man. My brain is mush right now. But this show needed to happen. It's going to happen. Let me make sure everything's running on the Spreaker site. You can get in on the chat there as well. Spreaker.com/user/truth-on-tap. And I'm going to share it on Facebook so everybody can see there. If you come there, you can get in on the chat and tell us what you think. If you can't call in, you could try to call in, but I will have Ramsey on the other line, so that can be a tricky little business for me. That call-in number is 910-NO-LYING, 910-665-9464. Sharing it on Tweeter Twatter right now as we speak, and that way we can get it out to as many people as possible. It is important, and I'm glad we have a real world example here. I think that's important as well. And Ramsey, if you're listening, go ahead and get the chat up, man, before you call in, so we can have all this ready. It is an important thing, and what has it been causing? Cyberbullying. Think about it. For you older folks, you may not know what this is. You think, oh, that means somebody's fucking with somebody online. Well, not entirely. It can be a campaign of offenses where somebody wears somebody down, especially when the peer pressure gets in and you have gang against gang as you have in high school, and by that I just mean clique against clique. You pick Marjorie out of a crowd, you and your gang wants to be cool, so you start talking about her hair. Then you start talking about her skin. You start talking about how messed up her eyes are, and her teeth aren't straight. And you start, and you pick, and you pick, and you prod. Next thing you know, a year later, she's hung herself in a closet. And you duck out and say, well, I probably shouldn't have picked on her. Yeah, you probably shouldn't have. Luckily now we're going to start getting people on probably accessory to murder. I mean, I don't know what else to do about it. These are active psychological warfare campaigns that kids and adults are employing, thinking that just because they're on the internet that they have some degree of anonymity and it's going to come back and get you. I wish what would happen is the people that were picked on go find, if they're local, go find them and teach them a lesson. I'm not going to tell you what to do. Let's see. Yeah, getting emails and messages while I'm doing a radio show is rather, I don't know. It tests you, you know. I'm kind of on the edge because I've been doing the software thing all day. So if we get any call-ins tonight from bullies that are pro-bully, I'm going to go off on somebody. Feel free to call in if you're feeling froggy. So the call's up. You can call in now if you want, 910-665-9464. We'll get Ramsey in here after you if we have to. What do you think about the cyberbullying? Let's pull it up and see what kind of active campaigns there are against it. It was something I said related to cyberbullying last year when my stepdaughter-to-be was playing basketball. I had noticed some coaches, you know, nobody in particular, just a lot of yelling and stuff going on. And I said to myself, this isn't how Little League used to be. These coaches apparently think they're still playing. And when it comes to Little League sports, I have some experience coaching Little League football, and I've read a lot on it, and I made my share of mistakes. I did it when I was 21 years old. I made a bunch of mistakes. But, you know, we won. We won the Super Bowl, and everybody liked me, and I guess that was enough. But what you have to remember is it's not about you. It really is about the kids. So when you see people yelling at the top of their lungs to these kids, keep the ball in, take the shot, what's wrong with you? That alone should be considered bullying. You can make a kid not only vacate the sport, but not want to live anymore because you've told them that they're a failure. In sports, now if you want to do that at home with your kid for not doing their homework, that's on you. Good luck, because you might end up running into something you don't want if you don't know how to constructively criticize. But let me tell you something, if you're doing it from a coaching perspective in front of other people, yeah, you can kill that kid. You can kill that kid with your words. So I would be very careful about that. Little League is for them to get exposed to the game, learn the game, the whole game. And, of course, they're going to be competitive and want to win. You want to win. But there's a way to do that without making a kid feel like a failure, without screaming at the top of your lungs, making them think it's more than it is. This isn't a game. This is some kind of animalistic war march we're on. What is this? When they get thinking like that, I don't think it's healthy for anybody. It's not healthy for the sport, I know that. So now once they get to the high school level and you're pushing that competition a little more, yeah, yell and scream a bit. I'm all for it. But God damn it, and Little League, I just hate to see it, man. I hate to see kids undergo that. They're not ready for it. Their brains aren't ready for it. They don't know how to process it. And it can go extremely bad or be ineffective at best. And I just hate to see it, man. I'd like to know what you feel about that. Post on the Facebook page if you'd like, facebook.com/truthontapshow. Tots is an easy way to remember it. Not tits, like Claudia might be thinking. Tots, like tater tots. Facebook.com/truthontapshow. Cyberbullying is the topic. There's a part of me that wanted to do comedy tonight, and I got in touch with Ramsey because he's kind of my wingman. We have a mission in life to try to close the gap a little bit between the Middle East and the West, and we can do that through comedy. I'm not that funny. He is. But because he's never allowed to tell the same joke twice, he's not that funny because he always has to come up with new material. Bless his heart. Why he put himself in that corner, I don't know, but bless his heart. We both have classical educations. We both are well-traveled. He's been to different spots in the world, several colleges, family from Jordan. He's been to Jordan. I've been in 47 of these great 50 states, lived in quite a few, including Alaska. Been through several provinces in Canada several times. And that's it, but hell, that covers just about North America, man. The only thing I'm missing here is Mexico and a few small countries south of that. But So we can speak from street sense and a classical education. I think his dad is a psychiatrist, and I was a psych major in school, psych and English, with a writing concentration. And what did I get from all that was important? Well, I learned writing structure. Funny thing, we in a public relations writing class, it was a 300 level class. I think it was 395, so that would have been junior. We had to build our own radio station. I never saw this coming, but that was what the teacher had us do. And so we had to run the radio station, figure out programming, and then figure out PR. It was all focused on PR. So, yeah, it got crazy. But anyway, and he's got his classical education. He does a lot with film and script writing, and, the stand-up comedy is his thing now. So, and he works for his dad. But he certainly is qualified to talk about bullying. He's 5'3" Arab. Yeah, need I say more? I didn't get bullied a lot. I was born 6'5". I guess that's a fortunate thing, but I feel like I might have missed some education from a first-person perspective that I could have had. So I have to listen to other people now and watch their stories. That's how that goes. Let's make sure the broadcaster is still up. Yeah, still there. Oh, let's see.
You're listening to The Truth on Tap with host Kevin Pearson.
Yeah, that sounds psychotic. That's some stupid shit going on with Sam Broadcaster, but I'm over that. Let's not talk about that anymore. I don't want to be talking about technical stuff right now. What's real, man? What's going on in people's minds that we're not talking about? Have you ever gotten nervous when somebody like me gets ready to touch on a topic that is there, and it's happening in the human mind, but it's not getting talked about? I threaten, man. I do threaten. I poke around there. Sometimes I'll drop them. Sometimes I'll drop a topic on you, and you're going, oh my God. That's uncomfortable. Yeah. Sometimes I will, sometimes I won't. I don't think cyberbullying is going to be comfortable when we get into the P's and Q's of it. It's going to reveal a part of our psyche that we'd rather not believe is there. And I plan to assault it. I really do. I cannot figure out under what circumstances cyberbullying should be tolerable. Unless it is a response to bad behavior. A bullying counterattack, if you will. That's something I could understand. So get in, if you like. Facebook.com/TruthOnTapShow. Waiting for the Arab midget to call in now. And we will talk about cyberbullying. He has a very specific example to share, a few pages of information that happened to him directly. And it looks like, I'm looking at the web here, we have official government sites. I mean, I guess they're starting to take it seriously. But what's sad is how many people have to scream before the government will do anything. And that goes for any kind of organization that's leading it. The Peter principle just kicks in, and they don't do anything until you force them to. So they've got one now, stopbullying.gov, just like it sounds. And right now we're on cyberbullying. And although we'll be talking about this specifically, we will back out to get the wider view and talk about regular bullying. Is this Ramsey Swice?
Yeah, man. I'm not even ready. I don't know why I called you.
Well, get ready. I'm not ready, man. I wasn't ready for this. I'm a little depressed over this topic. I'm not ready. I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready, man.
Not ready about the topic? Should I call you back?
No, I mean, it's got to be done. I pulled up a website. This is my normal style. I just start broadcasting, but the reason I didn't feel ready is because of the technical end of things, It's just pissing me off that I can't get anything to work right.
Right now it's not working?
Well, everything's working, but like, listen to this. Like, if I play my station, oh, you can't hear it. If I were to play my station ID, it all plays like at triple speed, you know, and it's a glitch in the software. And I've been trying all the other software, but I can't take your call if I do the other software. So
What plays at triple speed?
all my sound effects, all my songs. I can't play any songs from Bad Ace, which is a staple item on this show, you know.
I heard that you're looking for a new
Yes.
production.
Yes, I am. I'm looking for a whole new platform, which doesn't have to be anything. I'm learning as I read that it doesn't have to be anything big. It can be small, because all I do is a talk show. I'm not running high-quality stereo music all the time, but I do want to provide service that's acceptable. You know, if I'm going to play Bad Ace songs, they want their stuff to sound good, so I can't be running some fucking...
So Bad Ace is affiliate.
Yeah, I mean, they're a group I know personally, and I'm not going to play them over something that sounds like an AM radio. So I have to have some power.
I don't know. I listen to our shows. Since our first one, I don't know, three months ago or whatever.
Yeah.
But I know I've heard music before, but it's probably Bad Ace.
Yeah, it probably... Well, sometimes it's Bad Ace, and sometimes I play unknown artists that I download, like public domain stuff, because I like to play unknown art. Plus, it beats the licensing things. I don't want to mess around with licensing, so...
Yeah, was there any vocals?
Yeah, oh yeah, they gave me permission. In fact, the lead singer of that band, my friend is the drummer in the band, but the lead singer sent me the songs himself, the 10 that I tend to play. So...
And how did Brent go?
He was good. He was not very active tonight on the radio, so I had to... You know, when I have someone call in like you, I expect them to talk about half the time, and it didn't work out that way.
Well, his only word really is what? You know, I mean, that's just part of his... I don't know. His handicap. He just he'll if you prod him, like if you start saying, you know, I'm better at this than you, and you know, if you make it more personal, he'll get engaged so quickly. It's really kind of it's kind of like an animal.
Okay.
So if you're like competing, he'll fucking go 100,000,000% and just, you know, just
that's
like
the only thing.
He won't answer any questions. He's just. It's not even an arrogance thing, because like you would think that would be like a really cool thing, you know, be like someone's gonna ask you questions and you ignore them. That's like a cool thing to do. You know, but he just doesn't answer quick. He'll just say what. He'll just keep saying what, and then you're just like, God damn it, dude.
Yeah, it was driving me crazy, man. He knew it. He knew I was struggling there, because I kept having to finish all the sentences because he wouldn't finish them, and I'm like, what the fuck, man?
I know, it's happened before. So are you upset about the topic, did you say?
Well, a little bit, yeah, because I can't stand bullies to begin with, and now knowing that you've been basically assaulted kind of pisses me off. But I want you to tell people what happened to you, man. Let's get this thing opened up.
That fat girl was one thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm 150. She was pushing. I'm pretty good. The only reason I'm getting into this is because I'm pretty good at guessing people's weight.
Okay.
And I'm guessing. Did you see that video that Brent took of me?
No, I don't remember that one. There was a big girl in it.
Right. Where she beat me up. She punched me. She punched me twice, and I was bleeding.
Yes, I did see that.
But Brent ran on stage, and I'm just looking at the chat room. Sorry.
Okay.
Is anybody on?
I looked a while ago, but I always forget to check.
Because, here it is. Cause,
yeah, we got a couple people there.
Hercules and Trilby said he was looking forward. And I sent out some messages. audio. And I sent us some messages about our topic.
Oh, good. Well, it is an important one. I mean, this is probably the most important show I will have taken part in to date.
Well,
because
did you say that you read the... I'm sorry to cut you off. I'm sorry. I always fucking do that. Go ahead.
That's okay, man. Well, just keep talking when you do it, man. Just keep going.
No. Why? Because then you can't remember?
Yeah, usually. Usually that's true, dude. I'm serious. My memory sucks so bad that if you interrupt me, I'll forget what I was saying. That's how bad it is, man.
Why did you say Tom Green has a mangina? I didn't catch that.
Tom Green has a mangina?
That's what you wrote on Facebook. I said, Kevin is the offspring of Tom Green and who did I say?
Oh, I don't know, but Vince Vaughn, I think.
Yeah, I said Kevin's voice is the spawn or whatever is the result of if Vince Vaughn and Tom Green.
I've been told that. I've been told I look a little like Vince Vaughn, but Tom Green, fuck him.
No, I said your voice.
Oh, well, he fucked a dead moose, didn't he? That's what Eminem said.
Oh.
That's wrong.
I was just wondering why. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. And then what happened today? Cole something, and something
Cole.
about. I didn't understand, dude. Something about. You said that she had tissue paper envy.
Oh, yes.
And it might not even be relevant, but I'm just seeing if I understood it correctly.
Yeah, Claudia took a shit in a yard one time and didn't have any toilet paper. So that was what that was about. I don't know what you were talking about with penis envy, though.
Well, because she was saying that Jesus had sex with the holes in his hand. I think. See, that's the whole thing.
No, she wouldn't say that.
That's what I got of it, and that's why I was and that's why I went on to that fucking tirade.
You guys in chat, keep talking. We'll get your stuff on, but right now we're on this other topic. So go ahead, Ramsey.
No. That's the only reason why I'm not. I'm a very, very. I have a Buddhist state of mind, and I would never rant or go on a tirade if maybe I misread it. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we're always having fun. Claudia never does anything serious, if that's what you're talking about.
No, I'm not being serious. No, definitely not.
Okay. Because I don't know what you're saying right now. I don't know what you're saying about that whole Jesus thing.
That's what I read. Because on your profile photo, you were saying how you burnt your hands, and I'm like, yeah, well, I stabbed myself in the hands, in my hand once, like Jesus. And then you said, well, Jesus was stabbed by the Romans or the Jews. You said the Romans, no, I think Jews. And then you said...
I said I always get that confused.
But you said he definitely didn't wear an Australian hat.
That's right.
And that's it. And then everything was fine. And then I said... and then Claudia said that, well, Jesus didn't have a hustler and glossy pages.
Yes.
Or something. And I was like,
that's correct.
Are you trying to say that Jesus was fucking the hole in his hand?
That's gross, man. No, the hustler's written on the side of the lawnmower.
I didn't. It came out of left field. I'm not a good baseball player. What do you want? I'm just saying, I'm a good baseball player, but I just don't know what the fuck she was saying. Maybe it was just a non sequitur, and I just,
Well, you should go back on there and tell her that you weren't picking with her, because she'll get her feelings hurt, man.
Fuck, I don't fucking. I'll just delete it. God damn it.
Don't delete it. Don't delete it. I don't want you to delete anything. Just tell her, I'm just playing around, Claudia. Just say something like that, man.
Well, I mean, if she wasn't playing around, I would have to be like, well, you must have penis on me, because that's what you were saying, talking about penis, Why anyway, let's get into the topic. What?
Maybe. She was talking about hustler because hustler's written on the side of the lawnmower in the picture.
Oh, see, I was way off, dude. That was weird. That's weird, dude.
That's why that's why we're all looking at it going, what the fuck?
I put myself in a really bad spot, which is so
That doesn't, don't feel like that. It's not that important, man. It's not that important. She probably is blowing it off, to be honest with you, going, I don't know what that guy's talking about, but okay.
I
but
know, you said not to delete it, and I think it kind of deems that.
It's up to you, man. You're a comedian. I think you should just clarify. But that's up to you. That's your call.
Anyway, hey, I found out Pauly Shore's comedy club is an hour north, or it's like an hour and 15 minutes.
I love Pauly Shore. Wow.
Yeah, dude, he rocks, dude.
Mm-hmm. These guys in the chat. Let's talk now. They've already gotten started on this bullying talk. Trilby says a lot of bullies say it's just trolling. I believe there's no difference. No difference between. I think he's saying no difference between trolling and bullying. And I was talking earlier about how I was going to reveal some ugly parts of our psyche, and he said it will definitely reveal a part of our psyche. So many people justify their words as, "Oh, it's just a little fun," or "Oh, I'm just trying to get a reaction."
Exactly.
That right there is pretty much instant confession to Schadenfreude.
Dude, he's reading my mind. He is just said it word verbatim of how I would have said it.
Yeah, for those that didn't know Schadenfreude, there's an old saying that Dale Carnegie made popular, which is "Die reinste Freude ist die Schadenfreude," which is the purest and most malicious joy we take is in the misfortunes of those we have envied, if I remember correctly.
And similar to one man's pleasure is another. One man's pleasure is another man's garbage. I mean, one man's garbage. Isn't that the same thing?
Well, not really, because this is somebody picking on somebody. This is somebody saying, I just bullied you, but I'm going to call it me enjoying your misery. Whereas you're talking about...
For some reason, I thought it was one man's garbage is another man's treasure.
Are you okay, Ramsey?
Because if it's one man's treasure, if one man's garbage is another man's treasure, that means that like I could be eating, caviar and just have a bite and throw it all out, and it was $600, and it's just like, well, that garbage is another man's treasure. That's like kind of Schadenfreude.
Okay, yeah.
Like if you just tip somebody like what McDonald's has a location on every corner, but they spend 80% of their income on advertisements, and they pay their employees at poverty line, and like $8.25 or something, and then I think it's $8, but there was some strikes that get it to $8.25, which is really fucked up because you would want to think that people that work there would want to feel good about themselves to be able to afford a good life or whatever.
Yeah.
So they tell people, hey, I work at McDonald's and blah blah blah. But we haven't gotten to that point. But all right. So what else have they been saying?
That's about it for the chat. You're not at your computer right now? If you're not, I'll read it to you. I'm just checking.
It says you got comments. It was the Jewish Roman Illuminati elite that stabbed Jesus. They are pretty powerful. But,
Apocalypse. Apocalypse, if you want me to use your real name, go ahead and tell me what your real name is. Otherwise, I'll call you by your chat name. He or she is from Phoenix or Hellgate, whichever one you want to say. What's he talking about?
It comes from Hellgate. Trilby said that Schadenfreude is sadism. One man's pleasure is another man's pain.
Yeah, that's the same thing.
Oh, he's from Phoenix. Yeah, that's only like 5 hours from here.
Yeah. Oh, is it really?
Yeah, from Vegas is... I think Vegas is 3 hours. I don't want to... Yeah, I don't... I didn't say anything, Trilly. Don't worry. Trilly's like, don't get me in the hole. I'm like, don't even worry, man.
All right, so...
Hey, let me get into that cyberbullying, because it's been 15 minutes already.
Yeah, let's get on topic.
Did you read it first?
I read some of it, man, but I'm so absent-minded that I don't remember anything from it. I just know it was a bunch of nasty shit.
Well.
So tell us.
Yeah. It was. It's not public. It might be better if it was, so people could read it. But this is just some hate. Some, like, I call it like spider venom. To other people. From it's like. I was at a casino. This is exactly what it's like. You've been to a casino before, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. There was some thug that was playing, or just thought he was hard or whatever, playing blackjack. Was it 21? Is that the same thing as blackjack?
I think it is.
Blackjack?
Yeah.
Yes. I'm not a big casino guy. So he was playing blackjack, and then he got like a 17. The next guy got like a 21. And he's like, well, it's your fault that you called. He turned to the guy on the right one. He turned to the guy on the left, and he's like, why did you call hit? You knew you were going to bust. I would have got it 8, and I would have had that 21. And so it's that whole mentality, this hate mail, because it's different than what Trilby was saying, which is it's trolling, because it was just, I have it. It's not like they didn't think that I wasn't going to document this fucking insanity. And I also have this email that said, if I ever, one comedian said to me, if I ever hear you say my name, we're going to have problems. Like, threatening me if I ever, and I did. I ended up saying his name, and he never got into it. But he was basically threatening me, saying if I ever were to say his, it's like Freddy Krueger. It's like that movie where you're like, you can't say Candyman 3 times in the mirror. Remember that movie?
Yeah.
It was like, look in the mirror, and so, but he was, and then he wrote on my wall, kill yourself. But I mean, I'm not even complaining, and it's not the reason why I left Chicago. I mean, it is, actually, but it's not like I didn't see it. Like, I knew it was coming. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what comedians do. They gotta, like, push their nose, I guess, is the word.
I don't get it, man. So this one guy told you not to say his name. You got to lead me into this. How is that bullying? I mean, what if you had said it to him? Would that have been bullying? Like, did he give you extra threats that we're not hearing here? You know what I'm saying?
He told me to kill myself on Facebook, and I'm only saying Facebook because I'm saying, in public. Okay. And then he said if I said his name, that there was a whole thing about him. He never said the word fight, but I mean, that's I think that's kind of bullying.
Well, let's tell the audience though how it started.
He's the bouncer. He's the host at Riddles, and he said can't use anything. I don't know how it started. He was just talk smack to my sister, and he was this big black wrestler. But I'm not even gonna get into it because I do not trust anybody from Chicago. But it's just the point that I'm 150, 400, and it was just like, what are you trying to prove? And anyway, he was the host at Riddles, and he said he said I had to take down all my videos from Riddles, or he was going to sue me. And just just some other things that the lawyer said I should go to the police, but he might have just been being dramatic or whatever. But
all right, did he scare you? I mean, did he intimidate you like something was really going to happen?
Yeah, no. I mean, he would tell people we would showcase. We worked together for a year, and he would tell people that he never worked with me. He didn't know. He would just always talk. Like, if I I was on Bad Flava, and he's like, yeah, well, you're paying for the ads, and I wasn't. They just had me on. They had me on for free.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just smack, a whole bunch of smack.
Was he jealous? What created this divide between you?
I started in 2010, and he started in, I started a month before 2011. I started in December of 2010. He started in early 09 or 08 or something like that. And he would go on stage with a bucket and tell people to tip him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was that bad. And, like, I could recite his whole set to you. And that was the only thing I would call him out on. I never called him out on anything, you know. It was just the fact that I knew all of his jokes.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he's also in this email. He was talking some smack that I have, you know, and it might be, it might be good on a blog or something where people.
It probably would be. You want to put it into a note on my page to start?
Well, it's not one PDF. It's it wouldn't go into one PDF. It went into six. It's 14 pages total, but I'm just going to go into 6 of them.
Okay.
And there's 6 different PDFs, so I don't know how. I don't know. I don't know how I can get into a link or. So it's, I'll tell you. Let me just run it by you, okay?
Okay.
Okay. You might start remembering. So there was 11 comedians. This group was shut down. I didn't. Somebody reported them, or I don't know. Something ended up happening, and they shut it down. And you know, nothing to do with me. But at the time, it had 11 comedians that liked it, and they said this guy named. Again, I'm not going to go into too much names, but some guy that I showcased with, and well, he was the headline, and he said that he never worked with me, whatever. But anyway, he said some people said that he was an alcoholic. I'm not trying to start anything. I'm just saying, just putting that out there, you know.
Yeah.
Kind of like I'm in front of a jury or something. But so it starts out with. Isn't it annoying enough that you record and post every set you do, and then constantly repost them asking for views on your YouTube channel, which I don't do. I post it once. I only post every video once.
Mm-hmm.
And then it says, then you sent me a private Facebook message, and now it says, then I got a text message. And he's like, you're actually looking up strangers' phone numbers, because he was referring to himself, or maybe I don't know, maybe I texted some people a video. I don't, you know, this is 2 years ago. He said, you're actually looking up strangers' numbers to do this, lose my number, and there's a lot of expletives that I'm not using, and do everyone else a favor and lose theirs too. And then some big name, and I think he's a big name, but some really big name comedian said, I agree, not cool. I have liked his video, but texting me when I've never even met you is going too far.
Mm-hmm.
And then that same guy who wrote it said, we all try and promote, but this is spamming. And then that broad I just told you about, the big name girl, said bizarre. And then some other comedian said he's like stalking. I don't know what he was trying to say with that.
All right, these comedians are these all amateurs that you're talking about? Because they sound like clowns.
Yeah, I know. No, they're big names.
So why were they picking on you for wanting to promote your show?
Well, that's what I say. So that's exactly the next one. The next message it says, comedy is a dream, and I'm asking for support because I get phone calls to do more work for people. I only sent one message to my contact list. But should I have to apologize for bringing more awareness to the comedy scene? And I said, you're being pretty dramatic, exaggerating about my behavior. Sorry I wasted a few seconds of your time. And then I said, I never asked for, like, for example, I never asked for views and sent you a private message or looked up your number. I don't have your number. And then I said, and then I said, call me out in public because I'm looking for work. It's such a, I said, wow, call me out in public because I'm looking for work. It's such a terrible thing. Wow, someone nailed me to the cross. Because I knew it was going to go on from there, you know. That's the first page.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see if there's anybody. You went against Alex Jones. Oh, God.
What's he? What, are you looking in chat?
Yeah, I just popped in there.
Yeah. Yeah,
you had
sorry.
a Apocalypse on your show?
He was checking out a couple shows ago, and I was asking him. I was just curious where he had come from, because sometimes, like, I'll go on people's shows too. Like, I'll go check out Spreaker shows that are airing live and just see if anybody's got anything interesting on. I'll jump in there. So that's what he was doing tonight. He was browsing the Spreaker shows and saw this topic.
Who?
Apocalypse.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see. So, all right, let me just run by this, because there's to be like 30 different comedians that kind of just jump on this.
Okay.
It says, the next page, and if it gets boring, I'll stop, but the next page says, not exaggerating, we should all promote, but you're being annoying. And it's not productive.
Are you serious?
That's what the original guy who posted it said. He said, "Why are you saying there's sold out shows? You're being and that's what I was saying. He's being that he was exaggerating, because the show that I performed with him was sold out, and that's what I was just like, is it even worth it to read this? You know." But he said saying is sold out is dishonest, and it reflects the comedy scene as a whole. So I mean, he was obviously should have got his head bashed into concrete just a couple of times, and not for violence sake, not for violence sake. They say, you know, knocking some sense into him or whatever, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's just anyway. And I said, are you kidding? I was paid and it was sold out. I know you. I know because you were there. I said, just delete me as a friend and be done. You know, and just be done with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then he went back and he said, like 7 minutes later, he went back and said, look, when you post your video, that's asking for views.
Yeah, and
then hold on, I'm sorry.
So what? Well, no, I'm saying why would that? You know, that's why people.
I know, and it's so stupid, because it's like that guy at the poker table who's yelling at you because you got a card that the guy needed, and it's his. You know what I'm saying? Like, did you ever meet those people at those casinos?
I've never seen anybody do that unless they were fucking drunk out of their minds. But I've only been to a few casinos, man.
Okay, let me put another example. If you were in the Air Force, you know, repairing an engine, and you knew what you were doing, and then some clown walks up to you and they're like, "That's what's going on here," you know. It's like some dentist is, you know, at his office doing work, and some garbage man goes in there and tries to tell him how to do his job. Like that, you know. That's exactly what's going on right here. It's like he's like my employee. We're both comedians. And he's just stepping all on my toes, you know?
Yeah. It sounds like jealousy to me, Ramsey. Does that sound like... I mean, step out of it for a second and take a look from the outside. What do you see happening? I know you're seeing it from the inside of the storm right now, but from the outside, what do you think an observer is watching happening there? Is it jealousy?
Well, I mean, it might have just been just venom or spider, in the sense that, like, yeah, because he started, before me, and but then it says here, it says, I could understand you sent me a video because you wanted me to book you on my Rural Route comedy show or a DOC show, and I never ever asked him to be on his show. I have no idea what he's talking about. Yeah, he's like, I can understand if you sent me a video because you want me to book you on my Rural Route show or a DOC show. I don't know what DOC stands for. There is a point when things like that stop being promotion. You're starting to cross the line. And I'm obviously not the only one to think so. I know. And then I said, so you want me to hang up my Spurs so that could be more fans for you, ? And again, posting it once is not spam. I don't do it for the views. Have all the people on your side. But if a video has 10 or 100 views, it doesn't matter. I'm just trying to make people laugh, is what I wrote.
Yeah.
And
see, right there should have been the end of it. Right there should have been the end of it.
Exactly.
You gave him a way out to save face.
Yeah, I know. But so then 8 minutes later, he said, and then understand that there's always people like liking his retarded. And I'm sorry I said the R word because my business partner is mentally challenged, but it's just so ridiculous that
I like the word retarded.
All these different comedians liking his post, and it's just like, what'd you say? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I said I like the word retarded. Yeah, it's a fun word. I want to know this guy's name because I'm going to find him. I am.
I can't, dude. I already said enough about that first guy, and I do not. I get scared. I already said he's black, and that was one of my things, dude. I just have a thing with black people. I'm easily intimidated. I'm a small person. I'm what? It's just part of my physiognomy. I'm small. I get intimidated, and I don't like. It's not that I don't like them. I'm not. I have nothing at all about that. But I just I said he was a black guy, and I get scared of black people. That's all.
Yeah.
I'm not racist,
But you could punch them in their nuts, and since they have bigger nuts, you got a bigger target.
So he replied 8 minutes later. Oh, he said.
Don't be yawning on my show, man. This is the most exciting show on internet radio.
No, I know. I had a long, dude. I just moved to my new house, and although it's a bigger property, it's a smaller house.
Mm-hmm.
And my sister left with like 5 days ago, and we're all just kind of in a storm, just trying to get everything unpacked, and because we have a lot of family come visiting, and they're all Arabs. I don't know. That might be just a thing about family in general. They just get embarrassed easily, and you gotta do this, you gotta do that. So so then he said, look at Jonathan Finn. I don't know who Jonathan Finn is. Look at Jonathan Finn. Look at Jonathan Finn's videos. That brings attention to. He has videos with hundreds of thousands of views. That brings attention to the comedy scene. And I said, okay. I said, honestly, I'll learn from him and do my best.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, thanks for looking out. And I was just like you said, just be done with it. And then some guy called me a dick, some other big name, really big name comedian. And then I said, his name is Brian. I said, I'm sorry, I gotta go get a beer. So his name is Brian. He's a really big name comedian. And I said, he called me a dick. I said, ha ha, Brian. I said, I was just commending him on being a good comedian. And then the guy, Chad, who started it, came in and he said, I'm not. And then I was complimenting Brian, saying he was a good comedian. And then Chad said, I'm not claiming to be a good comedian, like saying as if I was talking about him. So he's like, I'm not claiming to be a good comedian. But if you want to get booked, they look at the first thing that pops up when they Google your name. And then
so? What the fuck?
He said, if you stammer or screw up, you won't get booked. I mean, obviously, if it's part of your set, he's wrong about that.
Yeah.
And then some guy I performed with, he said, this is the best topic ever. And then some other guy who's the like the stage manager or whatever of a club in Chicago, of a comedy club in Chicago, said, my dick shriveled up when Chad started yelling. That became so engorged that I passed out. I have no idea what he's talking about. And then Chad said, I've always had that effect on you, which is, I don't know, really, really, really strange. And then some woman that I also performed with said, kids, which I had no idea what she's talking about. And then she said, and then a really big name comedian said, just want to make sure we're all on the same page. Posting in a group is totally, this isn't a group, it's called the Chicago Comedy Scene. Posting in a group is totally acceptable, but texting or messaging is spam. Can we all get behind this, he said. Which is a good question. And then he said, he just tells a story about how a comedian once called him asking him to do a show, and he said no because the comedian called him. That doesn't make sense, because if you're going to get booked, if you're a booker and you need a comedian and they were going to call you, that's normal. So he was just making shit up, really.
Yeah.
The exact thing he said, for the record, a comedian, he said, his name is Matt Drufke, he's a really big name comedian. He said, for the record, comedian once found my home number, which is listed but I've never used for comedy contact info, to call me one day to complain that I should book him. No, this was after he told me he would take a guest set and then did not show. Oh, okay, that's why.
Okay, well that's a good enough reason.
Yeah, that's true. Was the comic ever booked by me? No. Yeah, but I never did that, though. I don't know why he would say that. So then this stage manager guy, his name is James Webb, and then I think he's the host of a stand-up comedy club in Chicago, said, I don't think Swice spams, he said, and Chad, he said, I don't think Ramsey spams, no hard feeling, he said, I don't think Ramsey spams. He said,
okay.
He said, I don't think that you spam, as long as this is use a learning experience.
Okay.
We should all be okay. And he was trying to end it, and then Chad said, I'll admit I was harsh.
Well, it sounds
finally
like
got
somebody was in a dickhead mood. Let me explain what happened here to people, because people
Sorry.
aren't following. People listening to the show. Ramsey's a comedian. He's up and coming. He was in a group of other comedians in Chicago in this whatever message board, and he got jumped because he. What did you do that started this whole thing? What was the thing you did?
I posted the video number 28 where I was in front of 200 people. That was the only time that I posted. And then so Chad he even says next, he's like, I admit I was harsh, I wasn't necessary, and I apologize. And then I said, and then that should have been the end of it. That was page 3. And then page 4 says, page 4 says, I would rather stab myself than disrespect somebody who has put more work in it. That's what being a comedian is. Putting the work in.
Okay, who said that?
No, that's what I was saying, because
Okay.
you know, it seemed like they were ganging up, like you said. And
Yeah.
then I said comedians have huge hearts and are underrated, sensitive. Says I wanted to do stand-up since I was 3 years old. I know I'm funny and brave, but I care too much what others think, so that is why it's a big step for me to get into the comedy scene.
Okay, so carry us through, man. What's happening here? You're saying the reason you did it, and are they accepting your explanation, or are they still gangbanging you?
Well, then there was this other big name comedian named Dan Dodge, and then he got on the wagon. He said, hold on a second.
All right, you study that. I'm going to talk to people here. For those of you listening, yeah. For those of you listening, cyberbullying is what we're talking about. Ramsey did get cyberbullied, and there's a couple of angles while he's researching his notes there to catch up. I want to talk to y'all about cyberbullying. Is bullying that takes place using electronic technology. You know what it is. I'm not even going to explain it, but here's the problem: the human psyche, gang bang mentality. Once one person jumps in, and then 2 or 3, you have a problem with something getting popular. Oh, let's jump on Ramsey, you know. That's ugly, man. That's ugly. Don't do groupthink. Whenever you see a group doing something, don't do it just because they're doing it. Ask yourself if it makes sense. Weigh things individually. You know, it's ridiculous that people do that. I can't stand it. I see it all the time.
Well,
it's so weak-minded.
That's a similar response that I have. Right before I get into page 5, I said, I didn't know if I should read it. It says, comedy. You know, I was just saying, you know, my theory on comedy, about how it's a sport, and you know, you got to put in the time. And I was talking about about how the host at the Riddles started stuff with me because I was asked to headline a show, but he got me off that show, which is fine. I didn't really care, but he got I don't know, he got upset about that. But then I said for Chad, someone you have never talked to, because we performed together, but we never talked to each other. I said, for someone you never talked to, and to hate me is I said, for someone who you've never talked to hate me is fucked. It's a sport, but it's also a business. Every comedian should have other comedians back in any and every circumstance, like a gang. And then I said, for the record, I never talked to James, the stage manager. Because, you know, because that's the weird thing is that if I'm not spamming if you're just posting your video.
Right.
So
I
was
agree.
just saying, that I never, I don't know this guy, and there's no way that, because the other guy was upset that he got like an email or whatever. I don't know how I emailed him or whatever. I don't text people. I don't know what he's talking about. I don't know how it's possible. I don't know. Can you use Facebook for texting? I don't think you can.
You can if it's, what happens is people that have Facebook mobile that have notifications enabled, it'll buzz them, and that's probably what he's talking about.
I could send, so if I have 1,200 friends, I could text all of them at once? Is that what you're talking about?
If they've got an Android or iPad or iPhone and they have the Facebook thing installed on that phone and they have notifications enabled, then every message they get on Facebook goes to their phone and will alert them.
I'm saying, so say you have 700 friends. If you were to send them a video like tonight's, like last week's show, can you do it to all 700 people? Can you send them a text through Facebook to all 700
I don't know about
friends?
that. I don't know. I've never tried to do that. But I read on Google that there's some way you can select all, because you know how you have to go through and check individual friends? And there's some way to select all. There's like a script you can run in your browser to select all the names there and send it to them. But Facebook normally tries to limit how many people you can send a certain amount, certain things to. So I don't know. I really don't know how that works within Facebook. They have their own
I don't think that
metrics.
I did. He was just making that up. And then, so that stage manager he said, saying you don't know me is not something you want to be doing. You just shit on the one guy who was standing up for you. What purpose would me saying what I said untruthfully serve? None. Let it go. Whatever. And then, like I said, a lot of these comedians are just, there's like, each one has like 6 likes, and then none of mine have anything, which is fine, but it's just the fact that, they're all, how Chicago's just, you turn on Comedy Central and you're not going to laugh. Why? It's because of people like this, the small-minded people that are jumping on somebody that's just trying to exercise the comedy muscle. That's all that I'm doing. I'm just exercising that muscle.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't like to repeat jokes. I think that it's making me a better comedian. I think not doing it for 3 years and doing what I've been doing for 3 years, I think that I'm getting better. But yeah, I have a show on Sunday, and the guy's name is Rocky. And so I'm just going to jump into like a bunch of like Rocky Marciano, Rocky Balboa, who are the same people, by the way. Rocky and Bullwinkle, Rocky Road, Ice Cream. I'm just going to rip on the man. He's the owner. What else can I say about Rocks?
You can say a lot, but that's not speaking to bullying, though. I mean, we can get off topic now if you want and go.
No. So
we can.
So then some other comedian, Robert Budd, said, he said, troll. He said, you're a troll.
Ramsey, wake up, man. Yawning on a radio show, it really puts people to sleep.
Oh,
Keep it going, brother.
I'm sorry. I won't
Come on. You got to wake up, man.
No, I just got to get a beer. And then it said, he said maybe it wasn't Ramsey, maybe it was Robert Budd. I guess he was trying to be funny. Some comedian laughed. And then Dan Dodge said, he said at least Robert Budd said in comparison, he said as comedians in comparison to Robert Budd, however unwarranted it may have confidence, I don't know what he's talking about. However unwarranted it may be, I guess I don't have confidence. So then And then the stage manager, James Webb, said, all right, leave him alone.
So who told you to kill yourself?
Let
us have his name.
That was the guy from Riddles. And that's one reason why I probably was never afraid. I was probably never intimidated by black people until, because, it's public. That's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And you know that when you have a page, you could see it'll say like 75 people, or, you know that it's going out.
Mm-hmm.
And then he said, what's wrong? Hello?
I'm just trying to keep it moving, man. We're in slow motion here, man. Let's keep it going, Ramsey. Come on now.
It's all right. I got one more page, and then
Okay.
we'll get back on track.
Okay.
And then it said, and then Chad said, Ramsey, you should thank me. Your YouTube views are skyrocketing, probably by now.
Mm.
And then Dan said, all right, hold on. It's almost done. This is the last part. And then some other comedian said, what the fuck am I reading? And then my buddy Ken Witzgall, who was an awesome comedian, he said, I don't know, it's to see more. But yeah, he was just, I think he was having my side.
All right. Well, let's wrap up the reading because it's going too slow. Tell me what you draw from that. Tell me what you think now.
All right. Hold on. This is the last paragraph. Well, you go what you think, and then I'll go.
Well, we're just talking. I mean, I just want to keep it going because people are literally falling asleep, I think, right now because we're having dead air, which is like a radio sin.
I know, you
So I
were
just wanna-
talking about that earlier.
Yeah. So.
Well, then the last part was just saying, how it, I would be doing a lot more comedy if I lived downtown. And that's why I don't repeat myself, because I'm not going to have that many chances to perform. And then that's it. That was the end of it.
All right, so good. So now let's talk about it. So these people basically had a whole bandwagon assault against you. How does that feel now? Is that still cutting into you? Have you recovered from it?
Yeah. As long as and I'm sure the couple of people that I named will either appreciate it or not. But yeah, as long as nothing comes, no flack comes out of this. Because that's the whole thing is that you don't when you're going to the office to do your work, you don't want somebody, one of the employees, going, being on your case, because that's going to make you work worse. But it was the fact that they were saying that I was having a negative impact, and that's the whole thing, is that the people that didn't have my side, it's because they didn't understand. Like if by chance someone had his side, it was because they didn't understand that he was a booker, and bookers get upset when you go to 30 different comedy clubs and are bringing the show literally to people. So that's why, if I have, dislikes and stuff, it's these guys that, that say that. Do we have anything on chat?
Not really anything recently here. And I'm just looking up some news here, cyberbullying news, and then we can go on to something like comedy or anything like that. But we need to talk about it because people are dying. Okay, so USA Today just put out an article October 24th, a couple weeks ago, talking about new weapons against cyberbullying. And, you know, everybody thinks this just happens to kids. This happens to adults, too. You've seen it on Facebook, you know, and you'll get friends jumping in, you know, to throw some punches, some verbal punches. And so it says here, after Rebecca Sedgwick's suicide in Florida, sheriff was right to file felony charges. I think so, too. I think it's time. She was 12 years old. And maybe, I hate to think that some kids have to be the example. But what are we supposed to do? When you start an assault on somebody, a campaign of negativity against them, and you harass them for months or a year, just like they did you, and then that person kills themselves, I think somebody ought to be responsible. I think somebody at least ought to have to pay some kind of price. You know? It's not like you just said something mean and somebody couldn't handle it. It's a campaign against them. You know?
Yeah.
What are we going to do?
I would imagine that it's, you know, you see it a lot in public schools, and when you see it in the movies, it's usually just people that I don't know what's wrong with them really mentally. I think they're just it's some kind of jealousy.
It's a combination of things. It's jealousy. It's groupthink. The gangbanging thing is what I hate. It's not one person doing it, because one person can cause somebody to commit suicide, but. You know, the way I deal with bullies is punch them in the nose. But when they have a gang all of a sudden jumping on you, you start looking for ulterior motives. Like, I was thinking about those comedians. When one did it, okay, maybe he was having a shitty day. Comedians, as you know, can have a very dark streak in them because that's how they, by contrast, figure out what the light streak is. And that's good comedy. But I saw them jumping on saying, hey, here's a guy whose ass we can kick verbally because, one, he represents our fears or our frustration because we're not on doing HBO specials yet. 2, he's Arabic and we're racist. 3, he's short. He's not allowed to do anything good. I'm taller. You know, some people are that fucking shallow, man. Or 4, I've been at it longer. He doesn't deserve to succeed yet. You know.
Yeah,
5.
That's what I think it was. Because, like I said, it was 2 years ago, and I had a lot going on for me.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, you still do. I mean,
I posted a show of 200 people, and I had like 32 shows, I think, at that point in that one year.
I think a part of it's projection. A part of it was them seeing what they didn't like in themselves. Because who's their own worst critic? You know, people getting up in front of crowds are often critiquing themselves. I critique myself all the time just for doing a radio show. And if once they see things they don't like and they can pin it on you, that's classic psychological projection. People do it all the time. A lot of times the things you're... Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Things what?
The things that you're being called oftentimes, and this goes for anybody listening, the things you're being called that are negative, keep in mind quite often that negativity is being ascribed to you coming from projection. Classic psychological projection. Somebody believing something bad about themselves will literally call you that thing. And in their mind, in their regular conscious, not their subconscious, they actually believe you're that thing. When really, they're just calling themselves out. You know? And that's how I learn about people. People that don't like me, which is rare that anybody doesn't like me, but when they do, as soon as they start talking, I'd say probably 7 times out of 10, they're critiquing themselves. The things they call you can, especially if it's not you. Like if you know your weaknesses, and I say, Ramsey, you know, you're a mean person. You shouldn't act like that guy that Jim Carrey was portraying in that movie, Man on the Moon. Mm-hmm. You shouldn't act like that, and you know you don't, right? Well, the first thing you probably would logically think is, oh, Kevin must have that kind of act. Well, why would he be ascribing it to me? I don't do that. That'd be like calling me short. You know, it just doesn't fit. Mm-hmm. So, you know, projection. I'm sure your dad, I don't know if you learned about that in school, but it's common. I don't know why people do it. It doesn't make sense. But I think it's a way for them to cast out their own demons if they can make the shit stick on you. You know, it feels good to them.
Yeah, well, no, I feel better.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like 100% that I've let it go now that I've been able to talk about it. Because I've never talked about it.
Good, good. Well, that's part of why I wanted to do this show, because I could tell you mentioned it several times in emails, and you mentioned it a couple times on Facebook, and I wanted to do it anyway. It was a good topic. It's the kind of thing I like to do on this show, and it's getting the ugly truth out there, even though nobody wants to look at it. You know, like that pile of shit in the corner that nobody wants to clean up from the dog, like Eddie Murphy talked about. It becomes furniture. We like to look at the pile of shit and say, hey, you don't remember the Eddie Murphy Act about piles of shit?
No, it becomes what?
It becomes furniture, because nobody will clean it up.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. He was talking about his dad.
One pile of shit is okay. But when I was at Brent's house, he had about 13 piles of shit, and you can literally not walk on his carpet.
That's just gross, man. What kind of animals does he have?
He just has one. He's like one of those furry ones, like a Labrador.
All right, we're going into comedy now, y'all. Fuck the bullying. Brent, whose carpet is covered in shit now in Chicago there. You know, you've heard of the magic carpet? Well, he's got the tragic carpet. What the hell? Why doesn't he scoop up the shit? What do they need, a Zamboni in there? What the fuck's going on with...
I have it on video, too.
Oh, no, I don't want to see it, man. I'll get sick. I'll throw up. I can't do it. Is it on YouTube?
No.
No, okay.
But, yeah, I've met his girlfriend. They're both mentally challenged. And, I don't know, he's just a sick kid, man. I've literally had the phone in my hand on, about to call 911 a few times.
Yeah. God. Well,
I
don't know. Well, good.
He's a criminal.
I told Brent that you two, you play off of each other well, you know? You see each other's blind spots.
Yeah.
You're always going to be his friend, right?
You notice that?
Yeah. Yeah. I think, and I told him.
I don't try to be harsh, but I think, like you said,
I told him he should.
Part of nature.
Yeah, I told him he should keep that up. Like, you know, he needs to. He said that here's what he said today on the show. He said, my comedy career has kind of come to kind of hit a wall, and since Ramsey left. So
I told him that was going to happen. He just kept telling me to go fuck myself.
That's right.
I kept telling him, I'm like, dude, this unnecessary stress is going to show during our shows. It's going to have an effect on our self-esteem. Stop talking shit, you know?
Yeah, I think it's... Well, I don't know. He didn't say anything else, you know, about the two of you, except that he agreed that I said you two played well off of each other. Like I say, he didn't say much at all. And that's the thing about radio, man. It has to move fast, or people fucking just change the channel. They're like, what was that? Dead air? I'm gone. You know, so I hate to lose people for that. But I couldn't get him to say anything. And then so I kept talking to him. So I started reading these headlines to him about news stories to see if he thought they were funny. And even then we were getting dead air on whether or not he thought he was funny. It was funny. And I'm like, this is killing me. Like maybe an hour.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. I just...
We've been going on... Holy shit, we've been going on for an hour.
Yeah, but that's, you know, this is two separate topics. With him, I didn't know what to talk about, really. I mean, I wanted to talk about comedy and just be stupid, but he didn't seem to be in an up mood. In fact, he hasn't been in a good mood that I could tell since the first time he called in here and did a show. He's only happy around you. So
Dude,
now...
I want to come out here. I want him to live. I want to live with him.
Well,
the only time that he really you know, a lot of his jokes, if people are listening and have seen mine and Brent's shows, when we go on stage together, they have the most hits, the most minutes watched in any of my videos.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you say Brent is at a breaking point, I was at a breaking point after these emails. Because then I was like, you know, if you're at work and you got like an office space, the guy's got 8 bosses, you're just like, dude, I'm not going to work anymore. Mm-hmm. And so I had a really tough time. And so there's a video number 37. You know, after these emails, they went on. This one was 14 pages. Then there was a couple other ones that, you know, they would just randomly, you know, throw me, you know, be like the monkey in the middle, you know, but there would be like a gang of them. They would just be shoving me around. And so after number 37, it's called They Know Not What They Do. Mm-hmm. It was a video at the joint. And I announced, I'm like, all right, I was with this troupe called Arabish. I'm like, all right, I've been with you guys for a year. I'm calling it quits. I'm just going to do a few jokes. And I started talking about how in Arabic, subr, it's like kind of like super, but it's like it's more like with the Arabic accent, like subr. That means penis. So I went up there because, like, you know, there's a lot of Arabic people. I'm like, yeah, I'm Zubber man. You know, I'm the penis man. That was one of my jokes. Yeah, if you look it up, number 37, They Know Not What They Do. I'm in a shirt that says, my nuts are empty. It was an Arabic shirt, but it said, I had these 2 nuts that I cracked, and it said, Fusta Fadi in Arabic, which means my nuts are empty. Like, that's the literal translation.
Oh,
and so I don't even remember. I never watched that video. That was a really tough, like, it was really tough because that was at the point where my lawyer was like, you should go to the police. And I had to go. I was working with this guy who was saying that, you know, we were never working together. And there were just all these clustered mind fucks that I couldn't really cope with. And then Tinfish called me just out of the blue. He's like, dude, been going to Second City. You know, let's do some shows together. We practiced for at least 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, every day. And then there's this big guy who runs the Tinley Park Center of Arts, and my cousin goes there, and so we just kind of felt like, you know, head honchos and confident, and we performed there 4 or 5 times, and then we just started hitting up like 14 different places. And we ended up, the last month before I moved, we ended up just going to a coffee house, which also served beer. And I would just, you know, I would drive them to Hoffman Estates, which is an 1.5-hour drive, and he, I don't know if I think I mentioned this already. He just kept on hitting me while I was driving, and so, I mean, there was times, really, where I'm just like, you know, why am I friends with this kid? Like a really, like, a hollow kind of feeling. Like, I would have to pick him up in my dad's car because I have a 2-seater, and we'd have all our friends, and like, you know, if I were to bump my car on the curb while turning, because I'm not used to that bigger car, like, he would start, you know, saying I'm an idiot, or like if my friend spilled some whiskey and he started like rubbing it in, and then, you know, it might be what's going on now, because his house is in foreclosure. He filed 12 bankruptcy, and he's moving in a really bad neighborhood with his grandma. Mm-hmm. So, but he doesn't. Brent being the way that he is, he doesn't really. He won't acknowledge it. He has a therapist, which he won't really talk about. But you know, he lives like in a fantasy land. Mm-hmm. And so you would never, if you had him on the radio, he would never talk about any of this. You know, anything, you know, so it's just really hard for him to get him to talk at all. But
Why was he hitting you in the car?
So that when he was doing that, because when you're a driver, you can't do anything, you know. You just, you know, he would sometimes he would punch me in the face, and I'd have to tell his mom just so I could just calm this chip down, you know. So what I ended up doing while I was doing that, I called Verizon. I'm like, all right, remove Brent's number from my block Brent's number. I would never want him to call me again. I'm never going to call him. And then he opened the door, my dad's Lexus door, to jump out the car on the freeway or on the highway or whatever. And then the kid from the Navy was, I had to shut it. And dude, he was just being a jerk, dude. He was just,
Does he have any siblings?
He's got a younger brother, and that's about it. Yeah, and that's it. And his parents are divorced. And but yeah, we hit the comedy scene really really hard for 16 months. But it was just that last month that he would really get on my nerves, and like he would just stop listening to me. Like he has this joke where he fell on a treadmill that was backed up against the wall, and he was rolling against the wall, like being slapped against the wall on the treadmill on high speed, and he couldn't get out because it was a really small room. And I keep telling him, I'm like, dude, it's a fan. And I always tell him that every joke, I'm like, yeah, do it. But for this joke, I'm like, there has to be a wall there, or people won't be able to picture it. If you fall down and try to do the joke, people will think you're having a seizure. And there was just a lot of times where we could have had better shows. But it just helped. Really, what helped, not giving him all the props. It just helps when you're driving to have somebody there, to have somebody that'll listen, have somebody that'll, so you don't have to, drive an hour and a half. So that was after 37. Brent and I I went up to 62, so we did 25 shows, but only like 4 or 5 together, because we would have roasts, and then all of his family literally would get so upset and like gang up on me.
Why? Who were you roasting?
Brent would roast me, call me Arab terrorist, that crashes in the buildings, and I don't know, Harry back and stuff like that. And I'll go back, and for some reason, when we told his mom, we're like, I'm having a roast. And she's like, oh, well, I need to be there to fucking protect him, I guess.
Oh, no.
And then so I'm like, Brent's mom is here, and I just started kind of just making some jokes about her, which is so fucking necessary. I mean, that's just, if you're going to roast, you're not going to go down. So I started talking about how he empathizes with crackheads, which he does for some reason. I don't know, dude. He got arrested. He got surrounded by a bunch of police, like 14 police cars once, because he was vandalizing an underpass, and he spray painted "dig here." No. It says "dig." He just vandalized the underpass in huge spray paint letters that said "dig," and all these cops came and were like, you can't be vandalizing. You're gonna go to jail. But they would empathize because he's mentally challenged. He's never been arrested, and he was like, so this is what he told me. He said the cops surrounded him. Were like, you're going to get arrested for vandalism. And Brent said, if you dig here, there's gold, which makes no sense at all. If I was a police officer, that would just give me more of a reason to arrest him.
What the hell did he say that for? What would you say that for?
I have no idea. Like, he was just, dude, you know, I don't know. Some people, they just are driven by insanity.
I guess. Good God.
You know, it might be the pharmaceuticals that he's on. But
Maybe.
Another time, go ahead. I'm sorry. What'd you say? Hello?
I just said maybe.
Oh. Yeah, that's what my sister-in-law thinks. But anyway, him and my cousin were doing this job, and, you know, Brent, having a handicap, all he really does is stay in the car. He doesn't really, you know, he'll do the fundamentals, like open a door or close the door. And so they're doing this job, and they're like, Brent, we're climbing his ladder to go on the roof to fix the heating and the generator or whatever. We're going on the roof, and all we need you to do is open this fucking door, go inside, and unlock the top door so we don't have to all come down the ladder. So Brent's like, okay, goes inside. My cousin told me about this. He said that about a half an hour, they're like, well, you know, we're done with the job. Why, you know, where the hell is Brent? So they go inside. Hold on. They go inside this random ass house, and they locate Brent. And Brent's, I guess, in this guy's in one of the, I don't know, some like bedroom or something. And the closet's like slit open, and he has a fucking 12-gauge shotgun, like double barrel shotgun in his hand. And my cousin said, isn't that crazy?
Dude, is it not right?
I know. And my cousin said he was loading it, and they're like, Brent, and like kind of like, you know, called him out. They're like, what the, like kind of like a what the fuck kind of Brent noise, you know? They're like, Brent, and he fucking pulled the trigger. And he
oh my God!
Yeah, he blew a fucking hole through 2 walls. Like he blew a hole through the wall, and then it blew a hole. It like went into the neighbor's wall, and like put a hole. Like I think it went through the floor, through the wall, and into the neighbor's house. But he didn't get arrested.
How did he get out of that one?
I don't know. If you happen to talk to him, I mean, he'll probably won't even, you know, reply. But I couldn't even imagine, you know, the other stories.
Man,
I'm sure every day he has like a near death, you know, kind of story
or a near jail experience at least.
Yeah, near jail experience.
Like. Good Lord, man. You two together, I think, would be... he'd be safer around you, but you're going to be more stressed around him, so...
No,
there's a price.
That's the whole thing. That's the whole thing, is that it was like I just posted on Facebook, it was always his family and his friends that were saying that, you know, it's because of the handicap. They think that when we do shows... Like, I did a show where Brent got really upset and everybody in his family, but it was a great joke, and I had nobody else. I'm on stage, and I'm like, all right, can I make fun of somebody in the audience? And then everyone's like, yeah, you could pick on me, and I'm like, it was a girl. I'm like, oh, I can't pick on a girl, you know? And so I just chose Brent, and that's just part of it. That's just part of, you know, you're in the same business, working together, you know, I might, you know, have to lean on you. And I said this joke about the Hunger Games. You know that movie?
Yeah.
Where Jennifer Lawrence is Katniss Everdeen. And I said, you know, Brent's mom was originally cast as that role, but her name was Fat and Never Clean. And but see, he starts talking. See, he's the type of person that when they're at dinner, they're all, you know, just kind of like unloading dirt, you know, and just like he's like, yeah, well, Mom, you know, Ramsey was talking about you again, And so it'll be all that. It'll be, you know, having him sneak out the house, having, you know, his parents, you know, calling me at my office or writing on my Facebook, or, you know, they're saying that I'm a bad they always said that I was a bad influence. I'm like, how, you know, I'm like, dude, I'm not even going to get into this, but you guys are going to realize that when I leave, you know, I was just reaching out to them because I've worked for a psychologist 14 years at, you know, did shows at nursing homes, and when you're in the spotlight, you're a 3-year-old kid again, you know?
Yeah. Well, when you get older, man, that stuff disappears, let me tell you, because I'm 41, and fuck the spotlight. I don't give a shit about it. I care about trying to make a difference, but, man, if I were... That's why I know I could go to Hollywood right now. I could be on the Dave Letterman show. I could be anything like that, and I wouldn't even be a little bit nervous, man. It's like something died inside me that used to care what mass crowds think about seeing you in public under a spotlight. Like, you know the nerves you normally get. I wouldn't have those.
Yeah.
Do you like having those nerves? Some people say it energizes them.
I don't. I would never kind of be, you know, schizophrenic or whatever. But do you have any favorite comedians? Let me ask.
We talked about that on the show today. We were talking about the funniest actors, but Dennis Leary, like we talked about, he's probably my top favorite. And then you have stand-up, I guess. God, there's a few. I mean, I used to be a huge Bill Cosby fan. I liked Richard Pryor back in the day. Eddie Murphy wasn't that funny to me. He was too... He tried too hard. You know, when a comedian tries too hard, I don't really... You know what I mean? Like with the laugh.
100%. Have you ever thought about trying it?
No.
Why,
I would be like...
Is it the same thing? Is it the same, like, attention?
I'd be exactly like Lewis Black. So Lewis Black's already doing what I would do. You've heard him, right?
Yeah, so do you think that I'm compelled because it's like an addiction?
No, you have your own style, dude. You have your own style. You have a very unique persona and style. So, and nobody else in the world that I know of is going for the don't tell a joke twice angle. So you've got that all in your own market, man. Is it an addiction? It might be.
Comedian on Facebook. There's about 700 fucking people. Like 700,000 people that have comedian in front of their fucking name. And some of these people, they've never done that, any of that.
Yeah.
And that's the whole, you know, this whole Facebook thing is so fucked, dude. I mean, I'm giving people an outlet, and I have a Google Hangouts recording, and I had a TV stream, and I could do that. I could do that if anyone's listening. If they need an outlet, like I could put them on my channel. You know, we could work together. Because Facebook and Twitter, I mean, it makes people think that they're famous. You know.
It does.
It's a big joke. They use you to make you, like you said, you need more followers. It's not true. It makes you think. And a lot of these are just fake profiles. They say 1 out of 10 is fake on Facebook, and they're just cashing in, really, on all these ads. You know, like I said on the other day, Michelle Obama has 1 billion hits. Barack Obama has 34 million, and he spends $500,000 a year, which is a joke. I mean, he's the apex of public figures. He should not. He should just sit back and not even look twice at it, you know. But he's talking about Kanye West and fucking, I don't know.
Well, I don't know what he's doing it now for. Once the last election was over, there's no reason for him to be trying to gain exposure for himself, but maybe he's trying to push some messages, you know. Maybe that's what he's doing. I don't know. But it's the same thing with authors, man. It's the same thing with authors. When I wrote my books, I went and did a huge blog post telling people, listen, yes, I'm an author. I have an author page. Here's what I consider author. Someone who's written a novel-length work and has it for sale right now.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
That's what it is.
and if you didn't write that, just because you're writing a book, you shouldn't be able to call yourself author, but you can. It's the new world now. So I said, well, shit, if we can't stop people from doing that, I'm going to go write a blog post, a big-ass blog post on what the new definition of author is. So you can insert comedian in there. You can insert actor in there. You can insert musician in there.
Well, what doesn't attract? Because I'm really curious. Like, are you not attract? Like, is there something that repels you from trying stand-up, or is it just like,
No.
well, there's no need, or
For me, I don't know. I think
you don't think that maybe you'll be?
I don't have the natural talent like you do. I don't have the natural talent. It would be manufactured. Maybe that's why I don't look at it like something I would do. You know, it's not like I don't dislike it in any way. I'm always listening to comedy because it's the only thing that keeps my spirits up a little bit. So it's not that, and I respect it, obviously. But I guess I just feel like I'm not a natural for it, and if I'm not a natural for it, I should focus at this age on doing what I'm good at. So I guess that's it, man. I don't know. It's a good question. I'm going to examine myself now and ask myself, why wouldn't I ever try stand-up comedy? Because I've never even considered it.
Well, I'd rather. Well, you've written 4 novels, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're working on your 5th?
Well, I've written 5.5. I'm working on my 6th, but I didn't publish the first one. It's still sitting here.
Oh, wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, it's a lot of fucking.
Yeah, I'd much rather, not have to deal with flack, which I doubt in LA that there's going to be any of that. I highly doubt. I have my first show on Sunday, and but I would like to get back. I've written 11 novels. I think 2 or 3 I'm done with, not published. But I'd like to have them done.
Yeah,
some of them are.
You will.
They just need to be, groomed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's cool, man. And what are they about? Like, did you write fiction, nonfiction, screenplays?
I wrote 11 scripts, 11 novels. One of them by Abraham, I told you.
Yeah.
2 of them, which is a sequel, about, one's about this guy who runs an island, and they have a different currency, and they have to deal with animals, but they also have to deal with, on the island, but they also have to deal with cannibals. And then the sequel is, their kind of union, which never settles, and just like industrialization, and just having like a real country, like a civilized society.
Okay. Well, we got to tell people how to find you, man, because we're getting late in our broadcast.
Okay. Yeah, then I have one about 2 of them is another sequel about women taking over the world, which is a little precocious. But yeah, you can find me. Thank you very much, for the plug. Facebook. I'm probably going to have a raffle when I find the post office. Haven't found the post office yet. But I'm going to be on Sunday on Veterans Day. I'm going to be on Living Portraits in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And I have a show with the Cutting Room. I don't know when yet. I think that's on December 2nd. And but yeah, you could just if you could follow up on Facebook on I Never Repeat a Joke. If you want to be on the show, you can contact me through that, or you can find all 123 comedy videos, no advertisements, on YouTube.com.
Gotta love that, man. What about Facebook? Did you already tell them about Facebook?
Yeah.
Okay, I missed that.
Oh, Facebook.com/Ramsey Swice. RAMZY SWEIS.
Isn't there a dot between Ramsey and Swice?
No.
Okay, sorry about that. I've been looking at a lot of web addresses today, as you know, so I got everything confused now. So I guess what we'll do, because like my whole brain is mush, man. So it is. I've been reading. You know what I've been doing all day. I told you earlier. It's killing me, man. I got a headache now, and but we had a good topic tonight. I enjoyed it. This is a pretty long show. We're coming up on 2 hours, and I want to do some more comedy though, man. What do you think about tomorrow or the next night we do something that just something stupid, man? Yeah, think about well, I got an hour and 45 minutes, but that's how long I've been on. You've been on an hour and a half.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
So
yeah,
what do you think?
I mean, because even here, I think the time is 1:30, so over there it's 4:30.
Yeah, and I need to get a couple hours sleep because I got babysitting duty tomorrow.
So, yeah, we're not going to be very, have an edge, comedic edge.
I know.
Or sharp-witted.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, I always am. I mean, I would like to run a carnival and be the head clown. and just there's people like that. They put on a clown costume and they never take it off. Have you heard about that?
No, I haven't heard about that.
Yeah, there's fucking people, dude. They're convinced they will not take off their clown costume. But yeah, dude, I'm available every day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you have like me and you have a lot to offer, but we also I applied for some jobs and in the billing, which I used to do. But yeah, I mean, as long as we have listeners, man, and I'm always available, I could always find time. So
that's good, man.
I could do a show every day.
Okay. Well, you know, we'll keep it going. I mean, if you turn out to be available that often and you're not doing something else or getting a bunch of shows lined up that you have to rehearse for, you know, we'll do a show every other day on average, just to keep the pace up. And if you want to start your own show, you know, I would never hold you back from that. I'll get you. I'll help you get set up and everything. But I like doing it with us.
Well, I mean, aren't you going to plug the show?
Absolutely. Yeah.
When?
Right, you mean now? On my show? Well, people are listening to it. They already know where my show is. I hope.
Oh.
But yeah, for those that do not know, you're listening to Truth on Tap with your host Kevin Kierstead and his co-host Ramsey Swice. Just so y'all know.
Yeah, co-host for I don't know, 6 or 7 shows right now, and have our first TV appearance in broadcast to Cleveland. Yeah, Kevin was saying about how I work on my jokes. I'm rehearsing right now. Did you hear that there's a new Viagra for women called Niagara? True. Dude, there's got to be a joke here. Listen to this. It says here, the market for women, the market for marketing, sex pills to women is bigger than men's. It's saying. All the manufacturers had to show for men that a pill could get a man hard, and if a man looked like he was turned on, then he was. But in contrast, women show physiological signs of arousal like lubrication, but that doesn't mean that they want to fuck. So, it says to meet the FDA standards, a testosterone product for women must lead to more sex, and test subjects must rate the sex as satisfying. So they're trying to get Niagara, which doesn't make sense, really, does it?
Niagara Falls wetness? Yes, of course it does.
No, like Viagra. What? What did you say?
Niagara Falls wetness. What do you expect?
No,
Niagara Falls.
Viagra for women called Niagara. That's crazy.
They're playing off of Niagara Falls, though, which is all about wetness. It makes sense.
Like shower, like taking a shower. I don't understand.
Yeah. Well, some women squirt, man. You know that, right?
You were saying that the other day, you crazy fucker. That's crazy, dude. That's so crazy.
It's true, though, man. Sometimes they are Niagara Falls. And if you put a good pill out there, maybe they're all Niagara Falls. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm thinking about making a joke from that, and then talking about testicle cleavage. But I don't want to get into it because I don't want to.
If you say your joke, you can't say it.
Yeah, exactly. I would rather save it for stage. I'm really excited about it. I just made a funny joke on Facebook about how pretentious people are in LA.
Yeah, I saw that.
But in Chicago, nobody really cared about who you are, so there was really no pretentiousness. But ultimately, I would rather be in LA. Have you been to LA?
Yeah. I've never been. California is one of the 3 states I've never been to.
No, I mean New York. I'm sorry. I said
Oh, yeah.
LA is pretentious. I'd rather be in New York.
Yeah, I've been to New York many times.
Yeah, isn't it great?
Well, I don't think so. I'm not a city guy, but I could understand how somebody who wanted to get some exposure would love it there.
It's just the people. I like the culture. What do you like? Will you be coming out to LA?
I don't know. I might sometime. I mean, New York for me is uncomfortable. It's that city living, because what I notice in city living, you might have a great group of people as far as their personalities, but there is this disconnection from nature. And if you saw somebody broken down on the side of the road in my town, somebody's going to pull over and help them. In the city, not so much. I mean, that could be a setup.
Yeah, so that's a great point, man.
Yeah, there's a huge disconnect there, and it depresses me. I'll be honest with you. As soon as I get in a city environment, unless I'm doing like a Caps game or something where I'm real fired up and excited, I'm sad. And I would work on copier, sometimes overtime, sometimes way overtime, and get home at friggin' midnight and get up and be at work again at 6. And I'm sitting there looking at the city people going, you people don't care about each other. And it just depresses the shit out of me. So I don't like it. I don't like the urban jungle.
I feel that. I completely see how that is.
It shouldn't bother me, because you're supposed to get tougher when you get older, emotionally, but I still can't handle it, Ramsey. I'm being honest. I like smaller towns,
Some of these big cities, I mean, it's just so polluted. But
yeah.
So what cities have you been to that you like? Are you in Matthews? You live in Matthews, right?
Yeah, this is a tiny town, man. We're not even on the map hardly.
What's your favorite? What's your favorite place that you visited?
Favorite place that I visited? I think I don't know. The top of the list somewhere up there has to be Alaska. I lived in Fairbanks, Alaska, and what a unique place that was, man. Because I had my hockey there.
Oh, that's awesome. But don't you have to be in like 3 layers at all times?
No. In the summer, up in Fairbanks, you get 22 hours of daylight in the peak of summer. So you're out playing volleyball with the fucking Brits at 3 o'clock in the morning with the sun up in the sky. It's awesome.
But how cold? How hot does it get? Really, like 40?
No, it actually gets up in the 90s sometimes. Well, occasionally it'll break 100. The summers are normal with the exception of the daylight hours. It's just the winters that are extreme. And the coldest it ever got while I was there was 72 degrees below zero. They called us at home and told us to stay home. So.
How long did you live there?
2 years. 2 years with the Air Force. Yeah, it was a neat place, man. The fishing was insane, and the people were just different, man, because they all came from somewhere. You did, yeah.
Well, I don't know if it was in Alaska, but yeah, I have a picture with like 40 salmon. Somewhere near Alaska.
You were in Alaska or Canada, one of the two, if you were fishing king salmon, probably. Unless you were upstate Washington.
Yeah.
I don't even think... I think Coho run up there. I don't even think they have king salmon there. So you had to be in Alaska.
Yeah, I have a picture of like 40. I went on a fishing trip, and I caught... It was really difficult, man. When you're on a boat, you gotta... It's all about arm strength, man. You know,
Yeah.
you got to have the right. It has to be in the stirrups because you know it'll. It's the pole will fly. But
yeah, absolutely.
a lot of fun.
I didn't fish from a boat when I was up there, and I spent $1,200 on fishing gear to never catch a king salmon. Did you get one? Did you catch one?
Yeah, I got a picture of like 40 of them, and they actually just like sealed everything up and shipped it off. Pretty fucking cool. Somewhere near Alaska. So you have $1,200 worth of fishing gear, dude. You know, Brent would have a heart on it if you talked about fishing.
Well, I had all that stuff. It's gone now.
If you ever have him on, just talk about fishing. He caught a 39. He has a picture on Facebook. He caught I think a 39-inch pike.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. I heard about that. I told him about a fly-in fishing trip I did up to a place called Minnow Flats when we were in Alaska. It's where humans aren't, Ramsey. I mean, we were so far north there were no more humans. You could seriously, you could go run naked and you couldn't get a ticket because there were no cops, man. There was no more humans that far north. And we went up there and fished, and I caught like 20 northern pike because it was so easy. Everybody did.
Oh
and
my God.
As soon as you put your line in the water, it didn't matter what you had on a lure. You could have had bait. Boom! You got one on. And it was awesome.
Wow. Yeah,
So,
no, I
yeah,
think
it's
it
fun.
was, I don't know if it was 39. Maybe it was a little bit smaller. But he
Yeah,
put it
I never-
back. I don't know why. I guess you don't eat pike, he said.
No, we did. Shit, I don't know what he's talking about. We did. You
Yeah, I don't
put him
know.
in butter? That's
He's
not
just
bad either.
lazy. He's just fucking lazy. He doesn't realize all you gotta do is just chop it up, and you know it's not that difficult. Some
Yeah.
Chinese people will just fucking eat it like a bear.
Yeah, they will. Do that
Is it-
goony goo goo shit.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
All right, Ramsey.
So, do we plan for one tomorrow?
Well, I never plan anything because I don't know what's going to hit me. But we
Yeah.
can pencil one in. Just don't
Okay.
get mad at me if I have to cancel for some reason. Because I mean, you hear the delay problem I'm still having in my audio software.
Okay.
You know, plus I'm having trouble with that. So but probably if not tomorrow, the next night we'll get one in.
Yeah, definitely, dude.
'Cause-
I'm down.
Because the Caps play on Tuesday night, and I'll always do a show after the Caps game if they win, because nobody listens if they lose, because everybody's pissed off. So I'll do a Caps show after they win on Tuesday, but I can do another show right after that.
All right, so who the fuck are the Caps? Could you explain this to me real quick?
Yes, this is the Washington Capitals. It's a hockey team. They were born in 1974. I've been watching them since the first year they came about.
They're in the NHL?
Yeah.
Oh.
I know, they're not popular. Nobody's nobody's
No,
singing
I thought
the
it was
praises.
like a high school team.
No, man, the fuck. No,
So you
it's
go to
NHL.
the games and you host there?
No. I've been to the games many times, but not that. I only host the post-game show, so we fans talk about our team. We talk about who fucked up and who did good and what's wrong with the NHL and that kind of stuff. That's my little, hockey's my little thing, man. I don't have a football team anymore. I used to like the Redskins, but I stopped following them, so now I'm a fair weather fan. I don't watch them if they're doing shitty. But like the Capitals, they're like family, man.
Dude, now I understand. It all makes sense. Just the other
Yeah.
day, I thought it was the Carolina Panthers. And no wonder why
Yeah.
you got offended. I would have got offended. Some guy today at the grocery said that the Hawks suck. I got offended. I grew up
I'm
there
sure.
for 30 years. What the fuck?
Well,
I
you
got-
should have
I
said the
got
Kings
shit.
suck.
Yeah, that's what I should have said. But he had a Kings jersey on, and I don't like fighting. Got to kick his ass.
Yeah. You should have said, well, the Hawks have just won a Stanley Cup. What did the Kings do? That's what I would have said.
No. I know, what an idiot.
Yeah.
All right, so
All right, man.
I'll catch up with you
All right, Ramsey. Thanks for calling in, man. Appreciate it, my brother.
anytime. Thank you.
All right, man. You guys have been listening to Ramsey Swice, comedian extraordinaire. Tonight, this show was about something serious, and we didn't spend... We spent a lot of time on it, but we didn't... I don't know. I felt like this was a good thing for Ramsey. He needed this. And I'm sorry for the speed that it moved through where he was reading the stuff, because the whole time I'm thinking, if I've got an audience listening to this, they're not going to know what he's talking about. They don't know who these people are. And I didn't set it up for you right. What I should have done is told you that we were talking about a group of comedians up and coming, some of them bigger than others, that were basically jumping on each other. And because Ramsey was trying to promote himself, you know, they were trying to establish a pecking order there, and that can turn into bullying. You know, it was nasty shit they were saying. And that's the kind of stuff that, as we led to later, can lead grown people and kids alike to do some things to hurt themselves if they take it to heart, you know. And it's hard not to take it to heart. Anybody coming up in the public light for trying to get some kind of career going that involves, you know, anything from politics to acting, you're getting a lot of attention on you. And if you're not really super thick-skinned, I'm not saying that that's a weakness. I think it's still a strength if you can connect with and care about people, but it's hard, man. And I don't know. I guess I feel this need to say, if there's a bully out there who gets off on picking on somebody, I hope you get yours before they do something to hurt themselves, because that's a sad thing, you know. And I hear people say things like, well, freedom of speech, you know, fuck them if they can't, you know, deal with the criticism. That's one thing, but a campaign of negativity against somebody, I think there's a difference there. And we got to establish some kind of structure in this society to stop it. I don't want to stop freedom of speech. Not at all. Not even a little bit. But why can't we make people responsible for their words? You know, if your words over a period of time that we can prove using our psychological case files will cause a person to harm themselves who would not have otherwise, then you need to pay a price for that. Honestly. And we did it. We picked on people in high school. I picked on people in middle school. Whoever my friends thought, you know, we'll pick on them. I would pick on them with them. But, you know, I'm going to be honest with you, and I'm not even trying to pump up my image here. I was actually pretty careful about that. I didn't feel good about it. Even if I did it, it was like, no, that's not for me. You know, I can think of a couple people in high school right now that were popular targets for picking on, that if I knew them what I know now, we would have never picked on them. If I just knew then about the implications, like the culture around it today, if I just knew that then, I wouldn't need to know what I know now. Just the culture around it that was coming, I wouldn't have never participated in that, because something doesn't feel right about it. Now, if you're doing something and it doesn't feel right, you shouldn't be doing it, right? Well, there's another problem, is that someone who's a sociopath, or worse, a psychopath, who is not feeling guilt for anything, they're not going to know when they're hurting someone else's feelings. They can't connect. You remember, it puts the lotion in the basket or it gets the hose again. Yeah. It puts the lotion in the fucking basket. And then she screams and he goes, "Arr!" And he's pulling on his nipples. He can't. He's actually doing a good acting job for a psychopath, because psychopaths will mimic. They don't understand what it means to feel for other people, but they know how to act concerned because they know that can get them what they want. They're not dumb. So you may have a psychopath in the making in a junior high school picking on somebody who cannot feel what they're doing, cannot feel the damage they're causing, because they can't imagine being the recipient. So, I don't know. This shit we got to watch out for, y'all. Let's not be stupid about it. So you've been listening to Truth on Tap, your host, Kevin Kierstead. The show is growing quick. I want to thank you guys that have been listening, that have been present in the chat. Looking over here at the chat, we have, I'm just going to thank you guys in the chat if you're still there. And I really do appreciate it. These shows are, they're not necessarily focused on one thing. You know, all I promise you on this show is an unusually high dose of truth. And I think comedy is the perfect avenue for that. I love the fact that Ramsey and I can knock out two birds with one stone, in that, you know, we can do comedy, and we can also try to close that gap between the Middle East and the West. Because what Americans need to know is that not every Arab person is a fucking terrorist. I mean, Ramsey, you know, he's an American. I don't like to say that because I like to use him as my whipping boy so that we can do this kind of act together, but he's, you know, he's an American. He couldn't, he's been over to Jordan, but he didn't even, I don't think he liked it over there. I think he knows he's an American. I think when you leave the country, no matter where you think you're from, black people go to Africa, they realize quickly that they are American. Only by contrast can some people realize what they really are. If I went back to Norway, where my ancestors are from, or to England, I would quickly realize I'm quite American. Yeah. You have remnants of what's left there, but you're not that. You're not that. So anyway, I'm glad you guys listened. I appreciate what you're doing to help the show. Some of you guys are sharing the show a lot. Some of you are coming into the chat. Some of you are calling in. It really makes me feel good about what I'm doing, because this show is important to me. I've always wanted to do a radio show. Didn't really know what I was going to focus on, and I thought, what can I do that I'm good at, and also give people something a little different than they're used to? What could I do? What thing could satisfy those two needs? And that was Truth on Tap, and that is Truth on Tap. But we are going to get to truth in many different ways, and that'll include serious shows, like we did the first half of the night show. That'll include comedy shows, like we did before, and we'll mix it up, and we'll do shows that are in between, covering a couple topics. Like, I'm not a comedian, so I have to have comedians on if I want it to be funny. Tomorrow, or maybe even a little later today, if I feel like it, now that I've had a mug of coffee, I may go ahead and do another round against Alex Jones, because I'm still trying to bring people over from his site and from his way of thinking into nothing of mine, nothing I've constructed. I'm just summarizing and hitting on the high points of the greatest thinkers of all time, showing you that maybe their thinking should not go to waste. Because if you're going to replace an Aristotle with an Alex Jones, something is missing in your classical education. And you need to replace it. You need to fix it, sew the holes up, whatever you got to do. Put it together, look at all the philosophers. I think intelligence comes down to being able to combine complex sets of ideas to form new ideas. I think that's the best marker of intelligence. And an Alex Jones cannot do that. He cannot even combine complex sets of ideas in his own statements, much less combine them with other complex sets to make anything meaningful out of it. It's, according to my research, there are lizard aliens in the government. There's a part of me that says, Kevin, why are you rescuing people that want to believe that dumb shit? And there's another part of me that says, it's something you can do. It's something you can do. It's a little something you can do to help. So that's what I do. I like doing radio, and I found a couple of things I'm fairly strong in, and that's what I do. I love my caps. I do a cap show, and I had to find something. I wanted to do something on radio, so I picked what I was best at. The only other thing I could do that I feel like I'd be qualified for is talking about computers and computer repair and that type of thing, and technical things. And good God Almighty, is that dry shit. So I don't think you're going to see me doing that. It's possible. I don't rule anything out, but yeah, I don't think so. Anyway, you heard it here. You've been listening to Truth on Tap. Your host, Kevin Kierstead. Tune in for the next show. At a minimum, we show on Friday nights around 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can get to the Facebook page, facebook.com/truthontapshow, or Spreaker.com/user/truthontap. And you can call in on either Caps on Tap or Truth on Tap at 910-665-9464.
You're listening to Truth on Tap with host Kevin Kierstead.
And there goes a psychotic Wes Johnson